one thing I was curious about was Owen Hart using the Tombstone Piledriver against Steve Austin at SummerSlam 97, which led to Austin's severe neck injury. My understanding is that it is poor wrestling etiquette to use another wrestler's finisher, especially when they work in the same company, and especially since the guy's finisher stealing is working in the main event as the world champion at the time. What was the thought in the locker room at the time on Owen injuring the guy that was starting to rocket his way to the main event scene and injuring him by using the company's world champion, The Undertaker's, finishing maneuver?
Oh, good Lord, this is going to have to be an essay question answer. Hold on, kids. See if you can follow me. Owen didn't actually, first of all, use The Undertaker's finisher, the Tombstone. He used a sit-out Tombstone, which is different what The Undertaker was doing, and which was the cause pretty much of the problem of the method that The Undertaker does it is actually safer, first of all. But secondly, I had never seen Owen do that. And I know from reading in Steve Austin's book, and I assume Steve has, well, I guess he would have a reason to lie about it if he hates this motherfucker for dropping him on his head, but I take Steve's version. He had said that something to the effect of that Owen had suggested it out of the spot that they were doing, and Steve had said, no, let's not do that or whatever the fuck, but Owen did it regardless. I don't know. I know nobody ever minded working with Owen. Owen never hurt anybody else. That was the whole thing about it. Is you never got hurt working with Owen. I obviously don't know why he did. I wasn't going to sit down with him afterwards and say, why did you do what you do or what you did? Because I think he was genuinely upset about it. But I think just looking at it as an independent observer, that Owen, because they were doing a reversal kind of thing, right? As I remember it, it's not like I've memorized this fucking match, but the circumstances was they had reversed something where they'd either done the back bend or the reversal from one tombstone position to the other.
Yeah.
Am I correct in this?
Yeah, Steve Austin had him in that position and Owen reversed it.
I think Owen had probably done that in Calgary or seen it maybe on a and thought it would be a cool thing to do in the match. And Steve probably, and I think Owen may have got carried away or may have said, well, hey, why would this guy think I'd fucking hurt him? And I don't know. But I know Owen, it's not like I can't believe he would have done anything like that on purpose. It's not like he had a history of hurting anybody. He'd never done that move, but I think the move was more about, instead of thinking about stealing Undertaker's move to relate to the question, I don't think Owen saw it as that because it was a sit-out tombstone. It was a different thing that he'd probably seen or done in a good spot somewhere before, and it just didn't go fucking well. But there's no doubt that, he didn't have him as good as he should have had him, or as up as far as he should have had him when he hit him with the thing. But so there you go.
Where were you backstage when it happened?
Watching the fucking monitor. Not at the gorilla position. I wasn't at the gorilla position monitor, which at that time, in those days, was like a table with 3 seats at it, and then a few people could stand around. But if you weren't really pertinent to what was coming up, you were in the way, right? Unless you were somebody named McMahon or whatever. But there was then right down the steps from that where you'd walk up onto that, there was another monitor where the talent could sit and watch or stand and watch as whatever. And I was there. And as soon as he dropped him, and I mean, okay, I could buy that Owen could do that move and make it look good. It looked a little stiff. But I didn't really realize for a couple seconds, and then when I saw how Steve was selling it, then I knew something was fucking wrong. And then as a few more seconds went by, it was obvious, to me at least. And then I just didn't know how bad it was going to be or was. And just the fact that he was able to fucking – and it wasn't the most graceful cover of anything I've ever seen. If people praised it for being a graceful cover, no, it was pretty ungraceful, but I'm amazed that either guy was able to do that, but especially Steve was in the condition he was in. And it's almost like I wish maybe, well, in hindsight, Steve couldn't do anything else, but I was thinking maybe there was some way that the referee could have jumped in and, you know, with what we know today, if something like that happened, well, then people would start working it into false injury timeouts, and then nobody would believe anything, and guys would be paralyzed, and the other guys would think, oh, you're selling that great. So never mind. I wasn't going to go there.
It obviously had long-term negative effects on Steve Austin health-wise, and it cut his wrestling career short. But if we're going to look at it just from a window of the next 6 months, do you think it actually helped his career not being able to wrestle for several months?
Well, yes, because and not it didn't help his career not being able to wrestle, but it helped his career that he wasn't wrestling. How about that? It never helps you when you can't through something like that, but he actually came back stronger because they had to find different ways. We had to find different ways to constantly feature a guy who could do a little or a little bit more later physically, but couldn't actually wrestle, and not tell the people, you know. So it was challenging, but at the same time, he was so good with the promos and so good with the shit that, and the people were so into him that for a while, I don't know that they noticed that he wasn't wrestling.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it was challenging that, you know, you couldn't actually have that kind of a payoff, but it caused us to focus more attention actually on him.